So my question is, who are you? This is a simple question. I don't want you to come up with a metaphysical answer. Because most people, when they ask this question, they simply answer with what they do. But that does not reflect who they are. So my question is, who do you think you are? And this is precisely because of your past events. I want you to look at this question through this lens. Are you what your mom told you, your spouse or your dad said you are? Who are you? Why do you do what you do? I want you to look at these questions. Is there something in your past that is governing your present? Answer this question. Be honest with yourself. What you want to look at, what are you actually protecting that's not serving you in the present moment? Are you in a relationship and you let yourself be defined by that? Or you had a job or a role and you're letting yourself be defined by that? So who do you think you are? Look at yourself. Look at your identity. We want to look at there. Because if you are not allowing yourself to grow due to the lack of courage, how can you achieve your goals? How can you improve yourself? How can you see further than you now are? How can you get more of the good life? So think about this, right? Because the current persona, the current identity is not serving you. If you want to have those things, you need to be a different person in the same body. So this is very important so you understand, who do you think you are? Answer yourself that question. All you want to see is what has society put in you or you've created around yourself. And we're all a blank slate. What we are is just we tell ourselves we are, and we come to believe it. Because as you will see, in the next point, you'll know how to change that by telling yourself a different story about who you are. And as soon as you start to believe that, you'll become a different person. Now, within you, there is an identity preservation system. This system is the sum of all your deeds that support this identity. The ego needs to have a sense of this reality to make sense of it, and is creating these stories. And is also reinforcing these stories by finding the evidence for them. And so your job from now on is to get control over this mechanism. It's not easy because it's unconscious mostly, right? And it's governed by the inertia. That is the years of conditioning and habitual thinking and being and doing. And also expecting, right? Because they all interlocked with each other behind the scenes, and you can't see them. You only do, but you're not even questioning that. So you need to see and think about that. Again, because it's out of your mind. You can't see it. It's the same system. And this system is so optimized because it comes from your need to survive. And this is what makes it powerful. Because as soon as you have your survival on point, in short, you get to aim for dominion over other things. I want you to have this in mind very clearly, because this is the system that's preserving your identity. Right? It has at the basis your survival in a way. It starts from there. It wants to be somebody. It wants to show off. It wants to be better than others because it wants to stay alive. But when you don't want to put in the work, you get to repeat the loop, okay? And you show off with little things or not showing off at all and suppressing the right behavior. That is bragging instead of doing the work of actually being that person. Instead of wearing cheap diamonds, fake diamonds, work your ass off, make your business run, and get the real thing. But that's what the ego does, so you must understand that. We all have it to a certain degree. The identity preservation, the self-illusion, and this comes from your ego. And this is what creates the psychological inertia, and it keeps reinforcing that. And it doesn't alter the self-image, it wants to alter the behavior to match that self-image. Write this down. It will always be like that. So, we can change that. This is the good news. We can 100% change it. Otherwise, you can't be a new person. So you can change that. What you also need to understand is that this system or this mechanism, the identity preservation mechanism, runs on fear and on attachment. You will need to understand this as well. Because deep inside you, you have unconscious fear. It's the fear of change mostly. The reason for this is because your brain wants to keep the same things that has kept you alive all this time. Because what has worked in the past has kept you alive. And if this has happened so far, it will continue to work in the future and will reinforce the survival. It wants to link survival to what works. Even the fact that you work on your business or you go to a job, the brain understands that this ensures the survival, and it will make everything in its power to keep maintaining this loop. It's very crucial you understand, right? So you run on fear and also on attachment, and it all stems from the need for survival. If you want to write this down, feel free to do it. Now that we understand the problem and the fact that you tell yourself a story that's not even real, it just keeps you alive. It's your responsibility to change it, even if you're not the one to put it there in the first place. So what can we do? Simply, you change what you tell yourself about what you do and who you are. And you will do it on and on until the supporting evidence will reinforce that decision, because you'll need to take a decision. And from there, it's only time that's going to say that you're a new person. So number 2 is interrupt and choose a more freeing version of yourself. You will have to stop living in the past that's not supporting you, right? So what you have to do is to decide and find supporting evidence. I don't want to run into examples of bad marriages, bad business partnerships, or childhood trauma, or divorces, or even abuse, or even worse than that. Because I'm sure we all have some form of trauma at a point in our lives. So what we need to do, when we see the trigger, we need to interrupt it. This is what you have to do. It's simple. It's not easy to be done, but it's simple as it's not impossible. So you need to interrupt yourself. In a way, it has to do with awareness. If you want to watch my video on how to raise your self-awareness, feel free to do it. But what we want to do is to choose a more freeing version of ourselves by changing the story, right? Remember when I asked you, who do you think you are? What's your opinion about yourself? That was my question for you. So what you want to do is to choose a more freeing version of yourself. Stop telling yourself that you're this guy or that woman. Choose something else and start believing it. How do you believe it? You find supporting evidence until it feels good with the new version you chose. And you start acting differently through the world. Stop hanging out with the same people. You're not the same person anymore. And you will see how your world changes. You'll need to start thinking differently. Start being more creative. Create more value for people. Cut the ties with your old ways of being. Feel free. Feel at ease with yourself. Change the story. That was your past. Forget about it, You need to let go of your safety. There is nothing you can protect, especially if it's not serving you. So please be mindful of that. I also want you to consider the emotional resistance you're going to have to the change. But remember, this is part of your growth. And also, the inertia that the ego has built will make your emotions pull you back into the old ways. After some rehabilitation period, some people go back to the old ways of being. But if they would only change the environment, then different things would lie ahead of them. So be mindful of who you spend your time with. Give yourself a second chance. You'll have to forgive yourself in a way. Do it. You don't have to carry the burden of yesterday into today's day. Let the dead bury the dead has a lot of meaning here. I want you to think about this concept a bit, Let the dead bury the dead. There's a lot of truth in it, It's like, also please understand that there are things you can control and things you can't control. So you need to think about that as well. And I also want you to find supporting evidence for this new way of being and thinking and behaving and all that. This is the only way to move forward. Stop living in the past, especially when you had problems with people, when you have things involving people in your past. No, allow yourself to be a new person, to find a new way for yourself. You can always do it. You can always do it. As long as you're alive, you can always choose a new direction for your future. And your happiness starts in this moment. There is no other moment, You can always choose a new path ahead. You can always have the right people around you. So all you need to do is just put in a little work and change the story about yourself. That's all you have to do, honestly. Again, stop living in your past. That's not serving you anymore. Your past is not serving you anymore. It's not serving you anymore. Forget about the people, forget about the events, and give yourself a new chance to a new light. Change the place, change the story, change everything. You're not a tree, But foremost, decide. Decide that you want to be a new person. And from there, everything will change for you. Until you can't decide, until you can't find the courage to do it, you'll not be able to do it. And you will still repeat that. If you're happy with that, fine. Go ahead. Nobody's going to stop you but yourself. But remember, nobody's going to help you if you don't help yourself. Why is it hard to let go of your past, of the story you tell yourself about yourself? I told you, it's a psychological inertia and the story the ego tells about who you are so it can make sense of reality. Otherwise, you're going to go crazy, going to go mental. But now that you understand and you have this awareness, I put it in your hands, you can choose to decide. Sit down with yourself. You don't need a psychologist. You can be your own psychologist. And also, you can get the help of AI, Practice therapy with AI. Learn to ask questions. Ask ChatGPT to ask you back questions. And you need to uncover your hidden motives. You need to break away the inertia, the fake, the illusions you've been living in, the ideas that have no grounding in the reality that is now happening. If something happened long ago, many years in your past, you're not that version anymore. You're a new person. Just allow yourself to feel it. And after that, decide that you're not that anymore. And choose a new story about yourself. Maybe that will change you. 100%. It did. Millions have changed after they've changed the story about themselves. Why can you not do it? You can, 100%. Just keep at it. Never give up, Start reading, start improving yourself. Your mind, your body, your soul, donate. This is a good advice for me as well, to donate. I'm going to take this advice. And I want to show you the good parts in this. As soon as you stop living in the past and you start accepting yourself for who you are, you give yourself a chance to a new world, a new life, when you actually have the courage to move, the courage to break the relationship, the courage to be disliked, and the courage to be yourself. And that's when you can have the whole world at your feet. That's when you can help other people. That's when you can help the present version of yourself that's thanking you for not living in the past anymore. You can sleep better at night after this process. When you look at yourself for who you are, it's easier. It can be easier said than done, but it's doable. You can do it. I've done it and I keep doing it. And so you can do the same. So again, what's missing, I think, is courage to dig and to look at yourself and to really ask yourself the best questions, right? And really consider this tip of asking AI to ask you back the right questions so you can uncover the hidden beliefs in there. And then from there, simply decide. That's what a belief is. A belief is a decision you took based on the information you had at the past time during that moment. And it can be conscious or unconscious. For example, when you saw the door opens inward, all the doors open just like that. And you apply this belief to all doors. When you see a door, you know the handle is there to open it. That's how beliefs work. So change them by deciding new things, and especially about what you say about yourself. That's how you become the new version of yourself. You become the new individual, the new person that's going to take action, is going to take the right action at the right time, because now you live in the light, you live in the present, you live in the moment. And precisely, this is going to give birth to a new person. Well, not practically, but you get the point, okay? So I hope you took some notes from this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And I hope you will change the story about yourself. Change what you say about yourself. See you in the next video.